Imagine a chemical factory far, far away in the middle of nowhere. The chemical factory reminds us of a chemical environment. For the optimal activity of neurons, cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, provides a chemical environment. It is responsible for maintaining pH levels, electrolyte levels, and normal levels of neurotransmitters. Inside the chemical factory, constant volumes of chemicals must be maintained. The CSF takes part in maintaining a constant internal volume of the cranium. It holds up the Monroe-Kelly doctrine. The Monroe-Kelly doctrine states that the sum of volumes of brain, CSF, and intracranial blood is constant. In a healthy individual, an increase in blood flow would result in an equal volume of CSF being drained. Suddenly, one of the pipes overflow and there's an imbalance in the internal volume of chemicals. Before you know it, there's a huge explosion. Everything is in shambles. There was only one worker inside the factory during the explosion, and being the lucky guy he is, he survives, although with injuries. As the chemical factory is in the middle of nowhere, he slowly limps his way towards the hospital. Limp sounds like lymph. The CSF acts as a lymph in the brain. Excess extracellular brain fluid is drained into the cerebrospinal fluid. Lymphocytes in the CSF participate in immune mechanisms. The worker finally makes it to the hospital. He meets the doctor, and the doctor diagnoses it as a severely injured leg. This brings us to diagnosis of disorders, the next function of CSF. As CSF is a direct reflection of brain functions, it is useful for the diagnosis of brain and spinal cord disorders. Unfortunately for the worker, his leg must be amputated. However, there are no worries as the advancement of medical technology will help him walk. The doctor places a metal ball in place of the worker's knee. Metal ball sounds like metabolic. Metabolic products are prevented from forming within the brain by continuous formation and drainage through CSF. Being one-legged now, the worker's entire body weight is put on his other leg. However, the prosthetic leg helps reduce the weight on his other leg and maintains balance. As the brain floats in CSF, the weight of the brain is reduced from an actual 1,400 grams to 50 grams. This equates to about 3 pounds being reduced to 0.1 pounds. The design of the prosthetic leg makes it look like a shock absorber. Acting as a shock absorber, CSF protects the brain from injuries. It prevents damage by neutralizing the impact of a moderate blow to the skull bone. If the blow is too severe, however, it cannot defend the skull bone. Before the worker leaves the hospital, the doctor gives him one last suggestion. The doctor insists that in order to regain strength, he must follow a nutritious diet. The last function of CSF is to provide nutrition to the nerve cells of the brain and spinal cord. Glucose and amino acids present in CSF participate in this process. The worker gets well soon and everyone lives happily ever after, yada yada yada, you guys get it. So that's it, those were the 8 functions of cerebrospinal fluid.